80% of my time was spent in the theater department at school, and then I would like quickly like read the book and try to pass the tests because of course I would go to medical school someday. I have to. I don't know.
That's what we're supposed to do. Yeah. Welcome back to Get It Girl, and today on the couch we have a guest who embodies the saying when beauty meets brains. You guys, she has a degree that I'm like just totally dumbfounded by, but it's amazing. Okay, she was on top of her acting career and she has a BA from Neurobiology from UC Berkeley. So please welcome Meera Kumbhani.
Hi.
Thank you for joining
us.
So and you have your film Perception, which is out on Amazon and anywhere you can get your on-demand DVD, obviously. So can you tell us a little bit about this project and your role on it?
Yeah, so this is an indie movie. It's a sexy thriller, which is something I've always wanted to say that I was a part of. So I play a fortune teller, a kind of psychic fortune teller that comes from a family lineage of fortune tellers, and I meet this man who. So basically this man comes into where I read fortunes, and he's responsible for the demolition of the building. And so, he's this like kind of slick Wall Street guy. And so I say, hey, just come in for a reading. And so I give him a reading. And I recognize that there's some kind of loss that he's had. And when I bring it up, it like triggers him so much in such a deep way. And I was like, oh, interesting. But it kind of in like a little bit of a scary way. Yeah. Now, her place of business is about to get demolished. She has the son who needs to go to a private special needs school. She needs money. She comes from a working class family. She needs money. And she sees an opportunity in this. And so she says, well, let me see if I can communicate with her. So she does that. Let me see if I can channel her. So she does that. These are also things that kind of dive into like the dark arts. And so she sees that there's danger in this and that maybe she shouldn't be doing it, but he's got money. He's got he's got the bills right then and there, and she sees it and she's like, I could do all of these things. It turns out to maybe not be the best idea, and things happen.
Oh my God,
I gotta watch it.
I'm already on the edge of my seat. Yeah. So did you have to prepare in any way of like studying how to be a fortune teller? If that's even a thing.
Yeah, so here's the thing is that one of the other one of my other castmates, his name is J-Ro, he is an actual energy reader. So all of my studying was just asking him a bunch of questions and just kind of like learning about his life and what he does, and it's really cool.
Because I'm really interested in this stuff, like about like energy, and like we were talking, about astrology in like a previous episode as well. So it's like I want to learn more. I'm curious. So what was like one thing that he was like, Meera, you need to know this if you're going to play a psychic?
I wish he said something that clearly in that concise of a sentence.
He's just like talking in
but
circles.
Mostly what he said, which I thought was really cool, is he feels like he's always had this ability, and he says when he sees a person, he just sees images just pop everywhere, and it just comes to him. And he's had this since he was maybe a teenager, and he realized that he would see a person and not just see a face, not just see whatever the person is doing. Yeah. He would see a color. He would see, and so that's the basis of his intuition.
So interesting.
Yeah, right? And so he would see like just these visions, and then he would just learn how to trust his visions, because I could like look at you and see an ocean, but then think, well, Meera, why was it? But then he learns to trust that and be like, no, I'm seeing this for a reason, and then he sees more stuff. So yeah, isn't that interesting?
Did this role make you more inclined to like believe in all of that stuff?
Before the movie?
Or not really? More skeptical?
I believe that some people are very intuitive, and I believe that, some people can see you and be like, oh, there's something going, I'm not going to give you a reading.
Tell me more. Give us a reading, girl. Give us a reading.
Very happy, very, going to be really rich, just a wonderful person, going to change the world.
I like it.
Sounds good, I'm not complaining.
Yeah. Who wants to complain about money?
If all readings were that positive, I think everyone would be going to a psychic. I love it. Now, we did talk about your previous studies, you know, your degree in neurobiology and everything, but obviously it's like completely opposite of a career, and I have to admit I was insta-stalking you and you were just hilarious, and I'm like, yeah, there's no way that all of this could be in a lab. So but I'm curious, like, do you ever find that you do use any of the, you know, your studies that you learned in your acting career?
Not in the way, I mean, a lot of people when they first were like, oh, you used to have this degree, now you do this, oh, you could play a doctor. And you're like, oh my God. Sure, but also anyone can play a doctor, like that's fine.
Yeah.
But I think it's more just like, you know, any kind of learning, and even you know, when you're learning math as a kid and you're like, why am I learning this? I'm never going to use this. It's just like how your brain like starts putting things together, right?
Yeah.
And so I think more than anything, like I can, like, half of me will just put things together in a very intellectual way, and the other half will just not.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of, I think, maybe how it informs it. Yeah.
Nice.
And throughout your career, your whole life, when you look at yourself and said, I want to be an actress, I want to act, when was that?
So it was a long time. I mean, it was a long time ago. I started doing like community theater when I was a kid, and I just loved. I loved every aspect of it. I loved the ensemble nature of it. I loved performing. I would see other people perform, and I would be itching to like get up there. Like I just needed it. But I didn't ever think. Like I come from a family of, you know, Indian immigrants, you know, and Indian immigrants that survived in this country because they had degrees in computer science. You know, they had, you know, other family members had degrees in, you know, MDs or whatever. And that's how they survived, right? And so I never considered it an actual feasible career or anything to really even keep following. I just knew that I loved it and couldn't stop doing it. And so I really just never stopped doing it. Even when I was getting my degree in neurobiology, 80% of my time was spent in the theater department at school, and then I would like quickly like read the book and try to pass the tests because of course I would go to medical school someday. I have to. I don't know. That's what we do.
That's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And we're back, and are you guys ready to play yes or no?
Yes.
You guys ready? Let's play.
Yes. Okay, so I have some questions here, and you guys have your little flags. So obviously, green, yes, red, no. Glad we know the rules here. So, here's your first question. Have you ever kissed your hand to practice kissing?
Oh, God.
Guilty. Oh, guilty.
I feel so bad.
I can one up that. One time I kissed right here to give myself a hickey so that I could tell people I had a hickey.
I
And they'd be like, why do you have a hickey right there?
It's a sexy part of the body.
I don't know. It was a wild time.
Okay, that's funny.
Oh my God, I love that.
But one thing that a younger me used to do too, with a cup with ice in it, and you try to catch the ice with your tongue.
Whoa!
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's like Olympic kissing practice.
That's what we do in Brazil. Yeah.
How about trying a knot with the tongue?
Oh, yeah. Cherry.
I mean, I've never done it, but I'm just saying.
Unwrapping a Starburst wrapper in your mouth.
Ooh.
I'm gonna try that tonight.
I did it one time, guys. I did it once.
Yeah? All right.
All right, next question. Have you ever blamed something on someone that was your fault?
Maybe when I was a kid. Yeah,
I'm
I did.
sure.
I did.
Probably.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I probably did.
How do you not? I mean, the world ain't full of honest Abes, okay? Right? There's these
We're
some
guilty. We're
situations.
guilty on that
We're
one.
all guilty. Any examples?
I don't know. I guess when someone broke something, I mean, I broke it. I'm still blaming someone. Probably I broke something and I said, oh, it was her.
Oh,
My
definitely.
sister's or
Yeah.
the dog or something.
Oh my God.
I'm the only
Always
child,
blame
so
things on the
if it's
dog.
wrong, it's me. I mean, who else would that be? We didn't have a dog.
Yeah, imaginary friend.
Yeah.
How about you, Meera?
I mean, the dog is a big one. You know, you can
It's
blame
hard to
anything on a
defend
dog, right?
Oh, poor puppy.
The dog just like, it was.
I know, this poor little thing. That's why dogs are the best.
They take it for all of us.
They still love you.
They
They
do.
still love you.
I don't know. I feel like I would blame like a fart on someone else.
Yeah.
Like who farted?
sure.
I don't know. The dog.
The dog farted.
But you know what they say in Spanish?
What?
El que lo huele, debajo lo tiene.
That's true. That's true. All right. Next question. Have you ever asked someone to pretend to be your boyfriend or girlfriend to get out of an awkward situation?
I did, yeah. At the clubs all the time.
Yeah.
So
No.
Yeah.
I don't think I have.
How do you get out?
I've
of it?
lied and said that I had a boyfriend who was just a friend, and then hope that they never meet each other.
Yeah. No.
Like back in like middle school, high school.
Yeah,
for sure.
I would always.
the
I still do that. I have a boyfriend. Well, I do have a boyfriend, but but like it's like before. It's like I have a boyfriend, or I don't know. But then it gets awkward. And you know what I found too is like nowadays people will ask for your Instagram as opposed to your phone number.
Yeah, so
yeah,
they
that
can
is
stalk you and know
true.
everything about your life.
Yeah,
Totally.
and I don't know. I just feel like that's so weird and impersonal. Like if I was single and someone was like, "Can I have your Instagram?" I'd be like, "No," because like anyone can get your Instagram. Like that
Right,
just
totally.
means that they're not serious. I don't
Yeah.
know. Dating
true.
these days, guys.
Dating.
All right. Next question: do you watch soap operas and deny it in front of people?
I don't.
I do watch cringy shows that nobody
Cringy shows?
likes.
Like what?
But
What are
I
some
pretend like I
examples?
don't. Love After Lockup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I love that show. It's a crazy show, but
I've
I love
seen
it.
it.
I just
I've
can't
seen it.
stop.
Is that like Lock Up Raw and all that? Like
It's where people start dating people
Prisoners.
from prison.
Yeah.
And then they get released and then they keep with the relationship.
I
and
would
they
watch
show.
that.
Yeah.
It's like
If it works, if it
it's
didn't work,
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny. Some stories are just sad, so you don't say that you watch. You just I don't know. That's
That's so funny. Yeah. Okay. Guilty pleasure. What's your guilty pleasure show, Jackie?
Oh my god, anything, girl, on Netflix.
Anything on Netflix. I know.
know.
Sometimes I don't want to admit how much I like binge watch. It's like I watched. So we were talking about Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
I finished Game of Thrones in like 2 months, like all season.
I know.
That's so intense. Did you
Yeah.
have insane dreams?
Yes, I did. I really did.
bonding.
I had crazy dreams, like the most like violent dreams I've ever had. I'm just like, whoa, I need to take a break.
Oh my God.
All right, guys. Well, if you want to hear more about Meera, and maybe she can answer some yes or no questions on her Instagram, I'm sure. And of course, to see Perception, like I said, you can catch it on Amazon and anywhere else you can get your video on demand. Be sure to check that out.